Hey, what's up everyone, and this is Figma Levi cleaning version. This is Figma EX20, so if you don't already know, this figure was exclusive to Summer Wonder Festival, which was held here in Japan. But you can still order this online directly from the Good Smile Company website, but make sure to order yours soon because orders close on the 4th of August. I'll stick the link in the description below, so make sure to check that out. So this is the 5th Attack on Titan Figma release so far, and the first to include a completely unique set of accessories, so this should be interesting. This time around, the box is in a kind of camel brown, and flipping around to the back of the box for some shots of the figure in action. So without further ado, let's bust this open and see what we've got in here. This is the absolute best use of the Figma box's inner packaging I have ever seen, and this is along the same lines as what you get with the Nendoroid version, and it features a set of awesome opening window shutters. So onto the clear inner packaging now. So inside of here we've got the Levi figure, 2 dusters, alternate dynamic hair for this Levi Figma here, not one but 2 alternate faces, a face bandana, alternate dynamic hair parts for the Figma Mikasa, an alternate hand with a duster cloth, and the broom over here on the left. Down here we also have the Figma resealable bag, as well as a rack of hands, base, and a stand. Next, the list of parts, and open that up for the instructions in here. And finally, the figure itself. Onto aesthetics, and it's no surprise, it looks fantastic. By far the most unique of all the Attack on Titan Figmas so far. It stands out from the group but still retains the majority of the characteristics of the other figures. Just like before, the default face looks great and the bandana on the head looks awesome as well. The way the fabric lies looks perfect, as well as the way the hair pokes out of the back there. As this figure is made up of a lot of the same parts as the original Figma Levi, I'll be mainly talking about the differences here. From the boots to the waist joint, the 2 figures are identical. It's mainly from the waist up where they differ. As for the differences, first up is the headscarf. Like I mentioned already, it looks particularly great from the back. A very nice sculpt here. At the back of the waist section, there's no hole for the 3D maneuverability gear on his back, but there are still holes in the sides, which is strange. So this means the 3D gear can't be used with this figure without modification. The rear section of the upper torso is completely different to the standard version, and it features this plate section strapped to his upper back, and that looks pretty sweet. And the last difference would be this bandana around his neck. So here they are side by side, and like I said, they're pretty much the same from the feet to the waist joint. Just like the original Levi, the cleaning Levi has the same cravat here under his neck scarf. You'll notice that the sleeves are actually exactly the same, just colored differently, and the major difference is just this section of the jacket. The cleaning version just doesn't have it. The default faces are pretty much identical, but with the cleaning Levi version, he's looking off to the side, instead of dead ahead like the standard version. Around here on the back, the major differences are the closed up hole on the lower back, as well as that soft, flexible jacket section. So here is Levi cleaning version with everything that it comes with, and you don't know how glad I am to be reviewing an Attack on Titan Figma with different accessories. So what we've got here is the pair of dusters, the alternate hair parts for Mikasa and Levi, the broom over here, as well as a spare wrist joint, the hand with the duster, the rack of 7 hands, the bandana, and 2 alternate faces. A closer look at each of the accessories, and first up is the broom. Believe it or not, they still use these old school witch style brooms out here in the boonies in Japan. But anyway, here you can see the nice bamboo style detail up here, and it also looks awesome at the bottom end down here as well. To attach it, it just slides into the standard Figma holding hand here, just like this. Next up is the duster, also amazingly detailed down here on the business end here, as well as another nice bamboo handle over here as well. Next is the bandana for covering his face, and this is made out of that soft, flexible rubbery plastic that is often used in Figmas, and that just slides up over his face. That's pretty simple to do. When his head isn't attached, you can just slip it on from the bottom like so. When this is on, you can only see his eyes, and Max Factory totally took this into consideration when they made this figure, as each head's eyes are completely different, so when you use them with the bandana, you get a completely different feel. This last one here looks like he's reacting to the room I'm in right now, which is an absolute fucking mess. Next is the alternate dynamic front hair section, which has this windswept look to it for using with the standard Levi Figma. And I'll just mention again that this can't be used with the Figma Levi cleaning version without the back of the normal Levi's head. And here's what it looks like attached to the standard Levi Figma. Next is the dynamic hair parts we're using with Figma Mikasa, which look much better than the original static looking parts. The sculpt is much better, featuring spikier, pointier hair. There's Mikasa with her brand new hair, and that looks absolutely awesome, much better for action poses. But this does make you wonder, what about Eren and Armin? Maybe some future plans for more Attack on Titan figures with more parts for other figures? Who knows? As for hands, we have a right hand with a curled finger, 2 standard holding hands with a smaller hole for holding the dusters, the wider ones here for holding the broom and other Figma accessories. Pair of widespread holding hands, as well as a right hand with the duster, and this looks awesome. It actually looks like the texture of a cloth, and the reverse side looks amazing as well. As it isn't just a flat surface, it looks like a cloth naturally would if flattened against a surface like a window or something like that. It looks awesome. Changing the hands is as simple as usual. You just pull off the hand that's attached and pop on the one that you want. As for faces, he comes with his standard expression, a combat expression, and a shouting expression. To change the faces, you remove the head bandana, the front of the hair, and then the face. Then stick on whatever face it is that you want to use, and on with the hair and then the bandana. I mentioned it already, but I'll point it out again. You can't recreate this image up here with just this figure. As you can see on the back of Levi's head, there's this peg for attaching the bandana, so you can't have him without a bandana on, unless you use the back of the standard Levi's head, which is sold separately. The figure, that is, not just the back of his head. So that's it for the accessories. Let's see cleaning Levi in some poses. Onto articulation, and again, as always, we'll be working from the head down. And there's the head all the way down and then all the way back up again. The side to side tilt, all the way around. All the way up at the shoulder, as well as all the way around 360 degrees. The bend at the elbow, and the articulation at the wrist. Articulation at the waist to the front and to the back as well. Leg articulation at the waist all the way up to the front, all the way around to the back, as well as out to the sides so he can't do the splits. The bend at the knee, articulation at the ankle all the way down as well as all the way up again, the bend at the toe as well as side to side at the ankle. This is something I think I failed to point out in the other reviews, but you can actually twist it here at the thigh, which is another awesome point of articulation. So as usual, the articulation is pretty damn good. On to quality, and what can I say, this section gets increasingly harder each time I do an Attack on Titan Figma review, as they're all practically the same. And in this case, especially in comparison to the original Levi. But in this particular case, I have to say this is definitely the superior version. But here the faces are much better, and so is the hair. The standard Levi's hair and expressions are good, but leave quite a bit to be desired. But one awesome thing is that these 3 new expressions can be used with the standard version of Levi, as well as the new hair section as well. The sculpt and the paint on all the new sections, as well as those which you've seen before, is amazing as you would expect from a Figma release. And again, all the joints are good and strong. And finally, Max Factory really should do this more often with the rear section of the Figma boxes. This is awesome. Maybe it's from reviewing basically the same figure 4 times in a row, but this is without a doubt my favorite Attack on Titan Figma from the bunch. In case you're curious, Eren comes in at a close second. Of course, it has all the awesome aspects of a Figma we all know and love, like the detailed sculpt paintwork and overall amazing quality. As the other 4 Figma are all pretty much the same with all the same accessories, this really is a breath of fresh air and really is the best choice for a second purchase if you already have an Attack on Titan Figma already. The accessories are awesome, and that use of the box's inner packaging is ingenious. But on top of all of that, it's just a really fun version of an awesome character, and I would highly recommend it to all Attack on Titan and Figma fans. And like I said, make sure to get your order in before the 4th of August, which really isn't much time, to avoid overinflated prices from resellers. Again, as always, thank you very much for watching. Like, leave a comment, and make sure to come back for more Figma reviews.